Ataturk was absolutely right to westernize Turkey. I know, Tariq from Hikmah History is telling you that one of the most notorious secularizers in modern history, a man who replaced the Arabic script, abolished the Khilafah, and dragged Turkey kicking and screaming into the 20th century, made the correct call. And I genuinely used to believe that. But somewhere between reading the history and watching the present unfold, I changed my mind, drastically. So today, we're going to have an honest conversation about Mustafa Kemal Ataturk, soldier, statesman, revolutionary, and ask the question that Turks have been fighting about for 100 years. Was this man a hero, or was he a catastrophe dressed up in a Western suit? Before we get into it, one thing both sides of this debate should agree on. Mustafa Kemal Ataturk saved Turkey, full stop. After World War I, the Ottoman Empire had collapsed, the Allies were carving up Anatolia like a cake, and Greece was marching on Izmir. It was Ataturk who organized the resistance, defeated the invasion, and negotiated the Treaty of Lausanne in 1923. One of the only post-World War I treaties that a Muslim-majority nation actually negotiated from a position of strength rather than humiliation. That part of the story is not up for debate. The military genius, the iron will, the refusal to accept defeat, all legendary. But what we are debating is what happened after the victory. And that's where things get a little bit complicated. So let's make the hero case first and foremost. Ataturk looked at the world in 1923 and saw it for what it was, dominated by Europeans. Besides his victories in the Turkish Wars of Independence, Muslim victories over European armies were rare. He would have known this was not random. Over numerous generations, the Europeans had developed their societies, expanded their scientific knowledge, promoted technological advancements, and invested heavily into their militaries. So as a leader, Ataturk wanted to give his people the best chance of both defending themselves and making progress, all in a bid to strengthen the country. And who was the best example of that at the time? The West. Ataturk's conclusion may have been radical, but it was not irrational. The framework itself was broken. 2 centuries of Ottoman decline and reform failures had demonstrated that. So instead of trying to fix it from the inside, he decided to replace it. The Khilafah abolished, the Sultanate gone, religious courts dismantled, Arabic script replaced with Latin, women given the vote, in 1934 might I add, before France and Italy, universities modernized, the economy restructured. But the results speak for themselves. Turkey became a well-respected state within geopolitics as a functioning secular democracy, however imperfect. It joined NATO, became a military powerhouse regionally. The argument is simple. He read the room. He understood that in a world dominated by Western powers who set the rules, you either adapt or you get colonized. And Turkey did not get colonized. That matters. Now, throughout most of my 20s, I wholeheartedly ascribed to the hero argument. By my late 20s, however, the implications of Ataturk's westernizing drive slowly dawned upon me. Subsequently, I started to move away from the hero towards the catastrophe argument, slowly but surely. Think about what Ataturk was actually saying when he westernized Turkey. He was saying, implicitly, that Islamic civilization, the civilization that produced Ibn Khaldun, Ibn Sina, the Ottomans at their height, the Mughals, the entire intellectual tradition of the Islamic world, was not sufficient. That to be modern, to be respected, to be powerful, you had to look like Europe, dress like Europe, write like Europe, and govern like Europe. And I want to sit with how extraordinary of a concession that is. Because to me, that's not modernization, that's surrender dressed up as strategy. Considering the failure of Khilafah and the success of secularism, I can understand why Ataturk would choose the latter. But it would be naive to assume that something as monumental as Islam could be conveniently cast aside from public life. Turks had embraced the religion for almost 1,000 years by that point. In that time, Islam had influenced every corner of their life in some capacity. We have to remember that Islam is a remarkably ambitious creed. Its reach is not limited solely to the spiritual sphere. It confidently asserts itself as a way of life with answers for pretty much everything in this life and the next. To detach a people from that and replace it with ideas and systems that were foreign in origin is quite frankly a recipe for disaster. Countries should have systems and beliefs that grow organically from native origins, if you want them to be sustainable. Broad, abstract concepts such as religion and identity take a very long time to infuse themselves into the consciousness of people. It's not a process that can be fast-tracked for short-term gains in mind. Another issue I have with Ataturk is the very assumption that the West was right. Obviously, in his lifetime, it would have been difficult to see through this, considering Western dominance. But the last few decades paint a fascinating story, one which highlights key structural flaws in the Western model. The liberal democratic model that Ataturk held up as the gold standard is visibly struggling today. Inflation spiraling, cost of living crises across Europe and America, political classes trapped in scandals and short-termism, public trust in leaders replaced with cynicism, and institutions that were supposed to be the envy of the world look increasingly fragile. I'm not saying the West is finished. No one in their right mind should be saying that. But I am saying the confidence with which Ataturk declared this is the future looks considerably shakier in 2026 than it did in 1926. Whilst the relative decline of the West is challenging to diagnose, it also isn't rocket science either. A leader who decides to take his people on a radically different path should be expected to make those kinds of evaluations. And most tellingly of all, look at Turkey itself. Ataturk's project was supposed to produce a secular Turkey that never looked back. But the most successful Turkish politician of the modern era is Erdogan, a man who has spent 20 years slowly but deliberately reversing Kemalist secularism, through democratic mandate by the way, which means that a majority of Turks, 100 years after Ataturk, are voting to reconnect with exactly the Islamic identity he tried to bury. You can call that backsliding, or you can call it a people reasserting who they actually are. So where does that leave us? Ataturk was a military genius and an extraordinary leader. In terms of saving Turkey, he is irreplaceable. But I've come to believe that what came after the victory, the Cultural Revolution, the erasure of Islamic identity, the declaration that the only path forward was a Western one, was a mistake. Not an evil one, not even a malicious one, but a mistake rooted in a deep inferiority complex that the Islamic world has been wrestling with probably since Napoleon landed in Egypt in 1798, and which we still haven't fully resolved today, to be honest with you. The real question Ataturk never answered, and that we still haven't answered, is this: can a Muslim majority country be powerful, modern, and respected on its own terms, drawing on its own civilizational heritage? I think the answer is a resounding yes, but that's a video for another time. If you made it to the end, let me know in the comments below. Was Ataturk a hero or a catastrophe? I've told you where I stand now. Where do you stand? As usual, I want to thank my Patreons for their generous support. If you want to support the channel, there's a link to my Patreon in the description to this video. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe if you guys enjoyed this video. Until next time, peace!